This is Ready, Set, Reiki, a podcast about Reiki and all energy work. From the curious beginner to the seasoned master teacher, welcoming all systems, all lineages, all levels. Reiki is a journey and not a destination. And on this Ready, Set, Reiki journey, I refer to myself as a guide rather than host, as I too am traveling, learning, and supporting others on this journey as well. And with that said, I am your guide, Tracy C. Wright, and this is Ready, Set, Reiki. Reiki blessings, everyone. Welcome, my Reiki family. Another amazing journey today. But first, let's give a little shout out to the Reiki Business Collective. Now, here you can share, support, and serve others. This is a great way to connect. This is on Facebook. Christian Standing Stone is the one who is leading the charge here to help support other practitioners. No matter where you are on your journey, you can be that curious beginner to that PhD scholar. A great place to come together. You can promote all that you do. You have people on there that will rise you up and celebrate all of your wins. Every week, he asks you to share a win, and we cheer each other on. So know that you never have to be alone on this journey. There are people, there are helpers here to help you through this journey. So back to this journey. Well, today, what an amazing guest. I already know we're going to hit it off. It was amazing. So she is a designer, feng shui master teacher, creator of the intuitive home method. For 20 years, she has transformed homes, businesses, and even a luxury private airplane interiors. Wow. Now her superpower is blending grounded design with distance space clearing and feng shui so that your home supports your health. So this momentum and joy, really your home is your safe space. So completely makes sense. Now, her name is Lisa Morton, and she works with clients worldwide, and she is the host of the Feng Shui Living podcast and the author of Aligned at Home, a book on creating deeply aligned, high vibe homes. So let's give a warm Ready, Set, Reiki welcome to Lisa.
Hi, hello. Thank you for having me.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for joining me on this journey. So I told the guests a little bit, our viewers here, listeners, a little bit about yourself. So tell us, who are you? Tell us about yourself.
Well, I grew up on a farm in Iowa. And I say that upbringing, being around nature, being around the natural cycles of life, the seasons, really brought me to, it started me off. And it's also become full circle. I moved away. I became an interior designer because I wanted to make things beautiful. And fast forward, and now I'm a holistic interior designer, connecting with nature, with those cycles of nature. I've trained, became a Reiki master many years ago, and that really was dipping my toe into this energy work. And fast forward, now I'm a feng shui master teacher, and I've been doing design for quite some time. And I love getting to help people feel better in their spaces, right? We're so busy. We have so many things going on, and there are easy, quick things you can do. We can dig deep, but there are quick and easy things you can do just to take a bigger breath in your space, let your shoulders drop at the end of the day. And so I'm really passionate about truly helping people.
Beautiful. And it is so important in your home that you feel comfortable, you feel safe. Right before I came to Pittsburgh, or I left Pittsburgh for El Paso, my husband bought a home here in El Paso, and it just did not resonate with me. I could just not be comfortable, would not feel safe. And I did what I could and brought in all the elements and all these things, and it just wasn't flowing. And we got out of that house 3 years later, and now we're in a new house. And there are moments here that I'm like, I cannot believe I got out of that. Like, we're here. I finally feel safe. I finally feel comfortable. So it really makes a difference how you feel in your home. My energy levels way more in this house than the other one. It was draining. I was doing everything I could to get out of that house, like jobs. I picked up every single job I could and kept so busy. It was so productive, but it really wasn't a home for me. So that's very important to really feel safe in your home, and that can really help be a part of that. So our journey, we're talking about energy work, Reiki. So when did energy work come into your life? Did you find it or did it find you?
Oh, it found me. As you mentioned in the bio, I actually spent the beginning part of my design career designing private jet interiors. So I was traveling around the world, meeting outrageous people, designing with outrageous materials. It was what, I thought was my design dream job. But I joke that I was kind of on call, work nonstop for 7 years. It was go into work on Tuesday morning and go home, pack your bags. You're leaving for Paris in 3 hours. Figure it out. And that was my life. And it was fun for a while. And then it just started wearing. I also had a lot of my own stuff that kind of came to the surface, a lot of perfectionism. And so I had to start navigating that. It got to a point that I decided this job just was not worth it. The stress, the overwhelm constantly. So I really took time to focus on my well being. I started doing yoga. I started meditating. I walked every day, did all the things. And then I started having Reiki treatments. That was huge. I can't even describe to, I remember the first time walking out of a Reiki session thinking, I think I had 10 pounds of weight lifted off my shoulders. Right. It was just fantastic. And so I was like, well, maybe I'll train in this. This was not in my realm at all. Right. And so I started training in Reiki, and this was like 2010 probably. And a year and a half later, I became a Reiki master. I just dove in because I couldn't believe the effects I was having. I was doing self Reiki treatments, working on my plants, on my dog. And it just became really huge. And then one day it hit me, well, if I can work on my own energy, how could I do that to these homes, to these houses because I'd started my own interior design business just to make a living, right? And I'm like, how can I do this? So it was really fun to explore. I literally would just go into homes and do Reiki in the homes and just see. It was just a lot of experimentation. And then I got into feng shui from there and energy clearings as well.
Beautiful. And you said like 2010. So that was at a time where it was not so widely known as it is now. I mean, thanks to social media, like my kids even, oh, I know what that is. So and so does it right on TikTok. And so to do that at a time where, not too many people would probably even put that together.
Mm-hmm. What's kind of funny is my Reiki teacher actually was prior to doing the energy work was an accountant. So I always joke that she was the perfect teacher for me because I was new to this world and was just the perfect connector there.
Right, right. You'll get people that like will leave the business, right? They'll walk away from the business world or accounting or that English professor. So it's so fascinating who, when you get that calling, it can be anyone. So you have helped so many people worldwide, helping them support their health, help with joy, help them become more grounded, help them with their design, whether it's as they're entering a space, they want to bring the feng shui in, or if something's happening, they want to clear it. But in your own personal life, have you have any challenges or struggles that you have faced when you were having your healing journey?
Oh my goodness. It was a tough road. This was, let's see, I was 29 at the time. 28, 29 is when this really started. And I was going through a really difficult time. And I think I would be in a really bad space if I didn't have Reiki to support me. I was doing self Reiki treatments all the time, daily almost. I was working with the experts and, receiving treatments. We would trade, we'd experiment. And I can't say enough about that time period. It, is supported through dealing with anxiety, depression, stress, and just navigating, finding harmony, right, in my own energy and being able to, because it's nice to stay in this beautiful world of sitting at home doing myself Reiki treatment, but I have to go out and work. I have to go to the grocery store. I have to do those things. So it supported me in getting out and doing those things that I struggled with.
Yeah. Yeah, you have a beautiful cocoon of a home, but you have to go out into the world, right? And be in places that you may not want to be, where it's tense and stressful. So it gives you those tools that you can use to help you navigate.
Yes, yes, I love that. I always say it's part of my toolkit, right? We have our toolkit of all those things, and it's just one great little pocket there with my Reiki in it.
Beautiful. Now, you had said that you had a Reiki session. It felt like it took 10 pounds off of you. You mentioned your lovely master teacher who is a former accountant. So when it's time for you to get an energetic tune-up, what qualities did you look for, or do you look for in a Reiki practitioner or a master teacher? What called you to that particular Reiki practitioner or master teacher?
You know, it was just a connection. And the instant I met her, I was like, this is it. I also didn't know what I was in for, right? I didn't really know what I was getting into. I didn't understand the importance, but it was just a beautiful connection. As far as now that I'm experienced and everything, I actually live in a different state now too, so I don't get to see her. But it's nice that we have I've made so many friends in this world, and we can trade and support one another. And it's nice to be in the kind of that intimate space with your close friends and support one another and care. And so that, it's really, now it's just amazing girlfriends and close friends.
Beautiful. So you certainly have had an evolution from designer, feng shui master, right? Reiki, creator of the intuitive home method, 20 years of experience, right? And then also author, podcaster. So what advice would you give someone who is just beginning to enter this work? Well, I find a lot who begin the journey, they lack confidence, or they're just really unsure of exactly how to take that first step.
I would suggest to take on an energy and essence of just wonder. Just kind of wonder, like, don't stress, don't worry, leave the perfectionism outside. This is not the place for perfectionism. I grew a lot releasing a lot of perfectionism, thinking I had to do it just right. And it also really deeply helped me connect with my intuitive self and listen and just be able to be aware. So just kind of be open to exploring and don't worry about doing it right or wrong. There is no right or wrong.
Very good. Yes, some people get so caught up in doing the right thing and that perfection that they kind of lose sight of it. I mean, there's going to be many times as you're in your own journey that you've had to reinvent yourself. Things aren't working, shift it, just like you do with feng shui, right? You move things in a certain way
Sure.
for the energy to flow. So it's as you as well in the business, things might change. You might realize, wow, there's a niche here that I can go into, and this works better, or I don't like this. And I think in my journey, I was so into thinking the idea of like having these clients. And then it was the realization, I think I'm like a teacher's teacher. I'm the one that's going to train those teachers who are going to go out and spread Reiki. So it looked a little different than what I thought it was going to look, but it's in a sense sharing it with the world and sending those out into the world. So looks a little different. So what books do you recommend?
What books do I recommend? Oh my gosh. So, well, my own book. I just published my book in just a little over a month ago, and I'm on just walking on the clouds, thrilled excitement. As far as other books, I love anything by Denise Lin. I actually trained under Denise Lin. She does a lot of energy work, that's actually who I trained under in my instinctive feng shui. She has a beautiful, beautiful book called Sacred Space, and it is my favorite. There's also Feng Shui for the Soul. You just can't go wrong with a Denise Lin book. I probably have several behind me, actually. I'm always giving copies out, but those are probably my favorite books. I love to read, and I'm one of those, I'll read a book 5 times. I might pull it out every year, right? Just read it because you always get something different.
Yeah, love it. And where can we get your book?
My book is on Amazon. You can snag it on Amazon. It's also on Kindle if you want to do that. I do, if you want a signed copy. So I'm this person, I'm really passionate about getting signed copies from authors. There's something about it, kind of feels like you're part of the magic, part of the process, right? When you get a signed copy. So I do have a spot on my website where you can request a signed copy, and I'll sign one and send it to you.
Beautiful. So what other services, modalities do you offer? Do you do classes, events, trainings?
Yeah, I do some classes. I teach a traditional interior design basics class if people just want to kind of explore their space and not really get into too much energy work. And I also teach a feng shui basics. I also, as a master teacher, can certify other people in instinctive feng shui. So that's really fun. I then also just do my consultations. I really love, you talked about being the teacher's teacher, but I really love this one-on-one work. I just
Yeah.
love connecting with people. I get to work with people all over the world. I have a following in Australia, which is hilarious, trying to get timing figured out for Zoom calls.
Yeah, it's tough.
But it's so fascinating to learn about people, what they need, how I can help them, and also their homes, because everyone lives a little different. Everyone needs something different in their home, and we're all going through different things.
Right.
So, yeah.
And I heard the word intuitive. So the process is that you would come in and intuitively, instead of doing what kind of the feng shui would be.
So I'm certified in what's called instinctive feng shui. So like so many different things, like yoga, right? There's all different types of approaches.
Mhm.
Feng shui has morphed over the years. It's over 4,000 years old. So of course, there's different schools or sects. And what I practice is a blend of form school, which is like the OG
Mm.
feng shui, looking at the lay of the land, the mountains, the rivers, and then there's also a healthy blend with BTB, which is a more westernized version, because we don't live like they did 4,000 years ago.
Mhm.
We're using the internet, we have electronics and things, and we need to be aware of that. So it's a healthy dose of both those, as
Mhm.
well as connecting your intuition and really being able to help the client also connect to their intuition. Because sometimes we need to slow down
Mhm.
and just connect. And what does my home really need? I mean, feng shui rules can say something, but if you really crave something different, that's what we need to go with, because that's what will make you
Right.
feel better.
And this also can apply to Reiki. We have so many different systems now, way more than we did in 1922, right? And there's some people who strongly believe that, hey, you can't do distance Reiki, you can't get attuned online. But you have to stop and think, in 1922, if this was available, that might have happened, right?
Mhm.
We don't know. And so they try to be like, nope, it has to be this way. It has to be hands on. But what if you resonate with a particular teacher that you just can't get there, So I'm glad you mentioned it in that way as well, where, we want to follow the history. We know the rules, but sometimes we have to see
Mhm.
and feel what's at hand here.
Yeah, well, I was actually studying another form, and I got to this place that I'd really worked on the perfectionism, right? And following the rules just so. And I had this kind of epiphany. I was like, I don't want to follow this rule because I know I can feel,
Mhm.
right? And so it was this beautiful eye-opening moment. And so I actually started studying a different style after
Yeah.
that. So
Yeah. Yeah. And there's so many different systems of Reiki that if the Azui doesn't feel right, go to Holy Fire, go, there's Animal, there's Crystal. You go down the list there and keep
sure.
going, and you'll find that right one. And I look at it as it's not time wasted, because it's kind of filling you up. And you may have that client 5 years from now, like, oh my goodness, I can use this tool on you. Here we go. We'll use Fairy Reiki or Celtic Reiki.
I love that.
So do you offer these online and in person?
Most of my 95% of my work is virtual. It's just so easy to connect on Zoom. And I can, just from looking at a quick floor plan, can easily see where you might be struggling in your life. We have these 9 different energy centers when using a feng shui bagua map. And so you might, be missing a connection with wealth and abundance, or your health might be struggling. So then we'll look at that location in your home and There's different relationships and you fit creativity. And so there's all these different areas. So it's really quite easy to look at a floor plan. We can do amazing work. I mean, I do some in person, but
Yeah.
it's amazing what you can get done.
Oh, yeah. And you
virtually.
can expand your territory. And as you were in many homes, now to get a space, it's so expensive. I mean, for me to find a yoga space that's the size I need, but the price I don't want to pay, right? So it's one of the silver linings with Zoom is that you have this accessibility, but then you still have those individuals like, nope, it has to be in person. But you know what? You watch a movie. I was watching Stranger Things and you could feel it, right? Or you watch the news and you can feel things. And so it transcends, right?
Yeah. What's really interesting is I'm also trained in at Denise Lynn's 7-star blessing space clearing. So,
Yeah.
which is just very similar to distance Reiki, right? And in that, and also my feng shui work, I have come to learn that I believe the distance offerings are more powerful than the in person. Some
Yeah.
people are like, no, I have to have you here. And I'm like, here's the thing. I think it just having the background as a designer and loving pretty things and plants and beautiful artwork, it takes me out of that zone. And I'm like, oh, look at that sofa. It's adorable. We can laugh about it, but honestly, distance for me is so much more powerful.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't think people realize too that the master teacher could unintentionally lower the energy too. You can do everything you can to ground
I
and make
know,
that connection, but who knows? Because there's some people
right?
who go around and I got something on me or anger, frustration,
Or
So
you just had a terrible commute there, right? With somebody that cut you off, and as much as you can plan to
yeah,
try to,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's life.
So where can we find you if we want to get in touch with you or to
Yeah.
book a session or take one of your trainings?
So my website is Pure Living with Lisa Morton. That's spelled Morton, purelivingwithlisamorton.com, and has all kinds of information there. I do offer a free 15-minute discovery call if you just want to chat about what project you might be interested in doing, and we'll go from there.
Right. And you also have a podcast.
I do. It's feng shui living tips for busy women. And my goal there 20 to 25-minute episodes of quick, easy things you can go home and do today so that you'll feel better tomorrow. So it's a fun, quick, easy podcast.
Beautiful. And that's found on all podcast sites?
Yep, it is.
Excellent. All right. Well, that ends the first part of our journey. I'm going to guide you into the second part, which was our social media and Reiki student questions. So here we go. Number 1, you created the intuitive home method. How has that impacted your life and the lives of your clients?
Ooh. The intuitive home method is this 30-day transformation. So I've never in my life thought I would be like in a coaching role, but that's what this has morphed into. And it's so meaningful to me. I've gained so much from taking this on, but it's also this beautiful process to hold my client's hand through this 30 days. We put on almost different lenses to look at our home, to look at our environment, to see how it's supporting us, how it might not be. I lead them through some guided meditations as well. And we really look a little different. We look beyond what we're just the pretty artwork or the wallpaper or wall color, right? We're looking deeper and exploring what our body needs, what our family needs. So it's a great experience for my client, but gosh, I just love doing it. It makes me so happy.
Beautiful. And it's just so important because we get so busy with life that we don't get to the laundry or we have that bag that's been sitting there that needs to go to the donation center, right? Just to come and have that clearing. I know when I was young, my grandparents, it was the first day of spring. So we're cleaning, we're opening the windows, but really, you can do this at any time,
Sure.
small, subtle changes by moving one thing. I remember when my kids were little, I got into the feng shui just a little bit, and it's like put a mirror here and put this here. And I got to go to this corner and fix this up. And my husband was like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm shifting the energy.
But I always love to say, sometimes people think we have to go and do all these things and clear all the clutter from our homes. But sometimes it's just one intentional thing blocking you.
Yeah. You don't have to buy anything. It could just be shifting something into another part of your home, or this isn't working. Let's get rid of it, donate it, kind of thing. Yeah. Number 2, having a superior power of blending grounding design with distance space clearing. How does feng shui really support your health, momentum, and joy?
Oh my gosh. I love the grounded design because that is what I will love design. I love pretty things. I love amazing light fixtures and cool wallpapers, right? But it's really what works for you and how you live in your home. That's the grounding. That's really, I think like root chakra, right? Like getting those things, making sure your home is safe and it's cared for and functioning for you. And it's just, I don't know. It's just a fantastic process to really, really get that grounding.
Right.
What was the second part of that?
How it helps support your health.
Yes. Well, I had all these things I was excited to share. Anyway, so we had talked about earlier about the Bagua map, right? This 9-grid map. Bagua actually means 8, plus there's a center grid. You probably remember this. And this is a powerful tool, an energetic tool to locate these different, kind of like the chakras, but over your floor plan. So we can explore if you're struggling with your health. I have a lot of my clients are dealing with heavy things, illness, divorce, loss of a family member, some of those heavy things. And when we can locate that in your environment, then we can really bring you support.
Beautiful. I love it.
Did I answer everything? That was a good question.
Again, about moving things. I do a money Reiki training, and you have your little money station, right? Your abundance and prosperity station, right? Yeah.
Fantastic.
Number 3, as a feng shui master, what is one thing that you would absolutely not have in your own home?
Cacti.
Oh.
And I'm sorry, I know some people really love cactus and I love plants, but we want to be mindful of poison arrows. These are these sharp points coming at your body for long periods of time. So we always want to be mindful because cacti are pretty pointy, pretty spiky. We always want to look for plants with softer, rounded leaves. I love a fern is like the perfect example of just delicate, soft. A jade plant has rounded shapes. So something soft and just fluffy feeling.
Now, could this be outside of the home as well? Because we're here in El Paso, Texas. So just nowhere on the property, inside or out?
I would not have one in my home or on my property.
The other house that I spoke about that I ran from, my husband wanted the cacti. He loved them and he put them right in the front. And I was just like, why? Like, I just wanted to go. And I just instinctually they don't flow. It doesn't look right. And when we went to move, I asked him, are you going to move those? And he's like, no, they're for the other owner. And I drove past the house a couple weeks ago and they got rid of them. And my husband wanted all this cacti outside and everything. And they're like dying and killing the other plants. And I'm like thinking, man, after this, we need to get them out.
Yeah, replace them with something a little more joyful, pleasant, happy, cheerful is what I tell people.
I had them all around and I had a money tree in the middle and it was dying. And I'm just like, what is happening? So it's kind of interesting.
Here's an analogy. Some people are like, don't understand the poison arrow thing, but really here's a quick example. So if you were to sit at the dinner table next time and take a steak knife, right? And, it's not nice to do this, but if you point it towards your body, you can feel that. If you're quiet, if you're still, you can feel that sensation. However, you rotate it away from your body and it's like,
Mhm.
Right? You can breathe. And that's what the poison arrows do. So we want to be very mindful of those important spaces of the front entry, maybe your wealth and abundance squaw, as well as those places where we're at for long periods, like your bed, sleeping in your bed. You want to avoid any poison arrows. I work from home in my office. I'm very mindful of poison arrows because I'm in my office for a long period of time.
Okay. Well, thank you for sharing that. See, I learned something. Everyone I connect with, I learned something. So gonna take care of that. Well, that was our last question. As we've been talking, is there something that you have forgotten? Something you want to share? The floor is yours.
I have this little section I've been loving in my book, and I just feel called to share it with you guys. So at the very end, and it's just one little paragraph. It says, "You are magic. Crystals, mirrors, or perfectly styled pillows don't shift energy. Your intention, attention, and willingness to experiment do. Remember, your decision to claim a bit of beauty, harmony, and peace within your four walls is an act of self-respect and self-love, a statement to the world that you are worthy of a life that feels good." So I feel like this pairs so well with all the Reiki conversation we had.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. And let us know your website again.
purelivingwithlisamorton.com.
Excellent. And is your podcast weekly, monthly?
It is weekly. Every Wednesday morning, you can get a new episode.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you so much for taking this Ready, Set, Reiki journey with me.
Thank you.
All right, my wonderful listeners, if you'd like your question featured on Ready, Set, Reiki, reach out, www.readysetreiki.com. I'm Tracy C. Wright, and this has been Ready, Set, Reiki.